Okay guys, Paul Argueta here. Today what we're going to be doing is a quick start guide on how to build your BPO business. Now, this training is chock full of information on how to start the business, build the business, grow the business, scale the business, delegate the business. And so it can be very overwhelming if you're trying to do all of this stuff all at once. Just keep in mind that this has been a process even for me, and it's a learning process that still continues to evolve. Today, in fact, I went to go take my Florida's broker license exam. Fortunately, they use a system called Pearson VUE, and I was able to go take it in the city of Pasadena, hence the whole floral and island theme attire, and I failed, right? I don't think I have the fail notification here or the paperwork that shows it, but anyway, I didn't pass the first time, so I'm gonna have to go back and take it again. No shame in that. You're supposed to score 75%. Unfortunately, I scored a 71%. So right, I'm gonna take it again on Tuesday and I will pass. Now, but the reason that I'm saying that is that that's all part of the evolution. That's all part of the scaling of the business, and I'm living proof of that. So everything that I'm teaching you is all stuff that I have done and I'm currently doing, and I'm still doing, modifying, improving, enhancing. Okay, becoming more effective. Now, today's training is strictly just going to be a quick start training, right? The whole guide here is just somebody looks at this and somebody says, well, you know, I'm not ready for all of that other stuff yet, but what can I do right now? Give me a training that you can teach me what to do right now, this moment, so that I can get this thing off the ground. So let's talk about those things, okay? When you're going to be establishing your BPO business, the first thing that I need you to do is I need you to talk to your broker, okay? And the reason, or your sales manager, whoever that might be. And the reason that I'm suggesting that you do that is because a lot of BPO companies will require that the checks be written out to corporations, right, or LLPs or brokerages, or DBAs, right? And so you need to talk to your broker to see how they feel about you doing these BPOs. Now, a lot of them aren't going to like it because, as far as they're concerned, that's just a distraction from you doing what the typical real estate business. Now, here's my mindset. My mindset is, if you're working BPOs within the business, and working BPOs permits you to still stay in the profession, permits you to not or to replace the 9-to-5 job that you have, right? Whatever the income that might be. If doing BPOs permits you to still stay in the profession, in their office, and still bringing on deals, as opposed to saying, you know what, I need some type of an income that's coming in regularly, right? If it permits you to do that, then they really shouldn't have a problem with it. But there will be those that will have a problem with it. There will be those who may not appreciate what it is that you're doing. So it's important that you have this conversation from the very, very beginning. Let them know that, hey, look, I'm going to be doing this, and this is going to permit me to generate an additional income. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a broker. I employ agents, and I employ agents that do BPOs, and I don't have a problem with it, right? Okay? I mean, the reality is, if you're going to be successful, you're going to, in anything, right? If you're going to be wealthy, you want to have multiple streams of income, and that's the dirty little secret that a lot of them don't want to tell you. So I'm going to be the one to share it with you. This is just an additional stream of income, and it shouldn't necessarily be your only stream of income, right? That's like saying, I'm going to sell real estate, and the only thing that I can do is sell real estate. I can't go out and purchase any investment properties. Well, why not? It's part of what we do anyway, right? Why would you hinder yourself? So just think of this as an additional stream of income. Have the conversation with your broker. Now, you know, just find out what their position is. Let them know that this is happening. If you're going to be having the checks made out to the business entity, to the corporation, to the brokerage, right, it's a little bit of a mess, because then the checks go to them. You have to go back to them. You have to try to collect those checks. And so I don't suggest that you do that. In fact, even with my own agents, I don't really like the BPO checks coming to me or to the company. I'd rather that go to them. So that leads me to my next topic. The next topic is, you should probably set up some type of a corporation. Do they have a strikeout? I could have sworn that there was a strikeout. Right. Okay, so we're done there. Now, let's talk about setting up your corporation, okay? I'm not going to give you any type of tax advice on what type of a corporation to set up, or what type of a partnership to set up, or what type of a DBA to set up. Just think of this as an umbrella. Any of those apply. However you're going to do it. If you can set up a DBA, set up a DBA. If you can set up a corporation, set up a corporation. Whatever you need so that you can establish some type of a W-9 that is not in your own name. okay? Because here's the deal, most of these corporations will not pay individuals, they will only pay, most of these banks for BPOs aren't going to pay individuals, they're only going to pay businesses, DBAs, LLPs, corporations, whatever it might be. So you should probably set one of yours up. That also resolves the brokerage of having the liability or the responsibility and even the accounting of getting those checks and then cutting you a check and then a 1099. It's not worth the headache. I've been there. I know what that's like. Set this up. Do a corporation or LLP or DBA, whatever you're going to do. Okay? Just a quick heads up. Format, strike through. Okay, next thing, you're going to have errors and omissions insurance. Now, most brokerages and most brokers are going to provide you with errors and omissions insurance because they have an errors and omissions insurance policy for the brokerage anyway. So just ask your sales manager, ask your brokerage, ask them for a copy of that errors and omissions. Now, if you're an independent broker, then you're going to have some type of errors and omissions. And again, if you don't know already, you probably do, but if you're brand new, errors and omissions, the insurance covers the mistakes that could happen during a transaction, right? Now, they're not going to cover blatant fraud, but you know, things happen. Sometimes there's stuff that happens in contracts, and you're going to need that type of insurance, just like you need insurance for driving a car. So errors and omissions insurance is going to protect those contracts to a certain degree. You have to read your policy. Again, don't take anything I'm saying as legal advice, okay? But get a copy of the errors insurance policy from your brokerage, or go out and buy your own if you really want to. And because it's based on the number of transactions that you've done, it's much less expensive to get errors and omissions for an individual as opposed to a brokerage, okay? But it still costs money. I mean, it costs money to make money, okay? So make sure you have your own, you have errors and omissions. Either you use your brokerage copy, which is free because you're part of the brokerage, so you might as well ask for a copy of it anyway, or if you're an independent broker and you're just building this on your own, you're gonna need to get some type of errors and omissions, which you should have already, okay? So we're gonna strike through on that now. I've already covered that. You know, there's got Alt-Shift-5. That's a shortcut. Okay, Alt-Shift-5. Remember that, Alt-Shift-5. This right there. All right, next thing you want to do is you're going to want to set up some type of a cloud phone or text line. Now, why do I want you to do this, okay? Because you have to think big and you have to think scaling. Now, what most people are going to do, just like me, initially you're going to be giving out your cell phone number, okay? And that's cool, but here's the deal. Eventually, as this business starts to scale, you're going to have to be able to differentiate and delegate different departments with different people that are managing those departments for you. And if all you have is your phone right now initially, right, the main phone line, what's going to happen is it's going to be very difficult to delegate later on. Now, my suggestion is you can set up some type of a Google Voice number, okay? Now, here's the thing about Google Voice numbers. If you are using the Google Voice number to go out and text people, okay? I'm texting brand new people on a daily basis. I get requests for and when I say I mean the whole team, okay? So I should say we, I shouldn't say I. We are texting individuals who we need interior access for. We are texting agents that we've never communicated with, requesting combinations to the lockboxes for. We are requesting help. We are looking for agents to help us with inspections. We're looking for random people who are responding to our Craigslist ads for access and for contact. So on a regular basis, we are communicating with people that we don't know. Now, why is that dangerous? Well, Google Voice doesn't really like it. Okay, so initially you might be able to get by doing this, but when you're starting to text people that you haven't communicated with or that haven't reached out to you first, you're going to run into problems just like I did, and Google Voice is going to cancel your telephone number. Now, that is very dangerous, especially when I've gotten used to using a particular telephone number for over 2 years or over 3 years for the BPO business, to then have to go back and replace everything, or for them to temporarily suspend it. So my suggestion is you buy some type of cloud phone or text line, and there's some that are very, very cheap. One of the ones that I use is one called DialPad. Okay, I like it a lot. Okay, dialpad.com. Now this is the app. I really don't want us to see the app. I want us to just focus on the site, not the app. So let me see if I can just show you that without going to the app. No, it's going to continue doing that. Okay, so I guess I got to do it from a guest browser, which is fine. Dialpad.com. Okay, this is the one that I recommend. It's going to cost you about $30 per department or $30 a line. You can add toll-free numbers to it. They dictate it. They sync your phone line with HubSpot. So another thing that I really, really appreciate. I'm going to turn on the AC just because it's getting a little warm here. So hopefully it doesn't affect how loud it gets, and you're not bothered by the background noise. So anyway, that's what I would suggest. The good thing about this is that you can have teams working with one number. So it's not just you, it's you, an assistant, and everybody's chiming in using all of that. Phone rings to both people. It can ring to your cell phone, can ring to your desktop. It's all types of great services, okay? So make sure that you set yourself up for some type of a phone system that you can monitor and that can be delegated so that you're not the only one doing it. Now, some of you are going to say, I don't want to spend any money on this. You know, again, it's entirely up to you. If you want to give out your own telephone number, you're more than welcome to do that. But eventually, you know, you run into the problem of having to answer all calls yourself, and that gets very difficult, especially when you're balancing your normal real estate transaction business with the BPO business. I mean, there's some days where when I was just doing this myself, couldn't quite move on to my regular real estate business because I was getting slammed with all the BPO business. As it starts to grow, it gets very, very busy, and you're going to need someone to help you with that. Okay, so set up a cloud phone or text line that you can use. And again, I just gave you some examples. Dialpad was one. You can do Google Voice, but if you're going to do Google Voice, use their paid version. And I think theirs is, again, you have to have G Suite, so it's $30 for G Suite, and then it's another $12 for a Google Voice line. If you are paying for the Google Voice line, not using the free one, then there's a good chance that they won't shut you down. I was using the free one initially. Now I just use Dialpad, okay? So set up a cloud phone and text line. Let's hope that I remembered Shift-Alt-5. Boom! All right, next thing. Set up an email strictly for your BPO business, okay? This is important too. So you want to have a separate email. It can be a Gmail if you want. It really doesn't matter, but have a separate Gmail account set up, or separate email, okay? I'm not endorsing any one particular product. Gmail, Google, they're not paying me anything for this. So set up a separate email account. Make sure that you have access to it, and make sure that somebody has access to it. Have that separate BPO email account forward to your primary account so that your primary account is always a hub that you can monitor and see what's going on, and then let the BPO account only have emails for BPOs. This is important because once you start to delegate this, you can have one person just monitoring the BPOs, as opposed to having one person try to monitor your Gmail, which is a dangerous proposition, because then they're having to go through all of the emails that you're looking through, and when you've mixed business with pleasure and business with all types of other stuff, you have it's just, your whole inbox is clouded with a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be there, and it's going to be difficult for people to go through that. Set up a separate email, separate business, have it forward to your email, okay? Shift-Alt-5, done. Next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to register for these BPO companies. I'm going to give you a link to an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Cloud Sheet, Docs, whatever it might be, and they'll have all the different websites that you can go on that you can register for. They don't cost you any money to register, okay? Anybody that tells you that you need to pay them to be able to register for them to do BPOs, it's a crock of you-know-what. You don't need to pay, okay? They pay you to do this, okay? So you make sure that you register for those BPO companies. I know that in some cases there will be some, for instance, very reputable ones that might in fact charge a fee. Forgive me for correcting myself. ResNet is one, RES.net, and what was the other one? Forgive me, Equator is the second one, okay? Those are used by banks, and some banks will require that you register for those companies. I'm not telling you that you need to register for them right now, okay? Not necessarily right now, and the only reason, and again, as of today's date, I don't want to date it, but we're in June of 2021. June of 2021, you don't need to register for them right now. Sorry about that, let me pause this. All right, forgive me, a call came in. Now, you're going to want to register for the BPOs, the BPO companies. Make sure that you register. You're going to need your errors and omissions insurance there. You may also need a copy of your driver's license, and you may also need a copy of your real estate license. Okay, so make sure you have a copy of those as PDFs handy, because you're going to need that. So you're going to need your driver's license, your errors and omissions, and your Department of Real Estate license, whatever that might be for whatever state. Another thing that they may do is they may have you do a background check. There are some companies that will have you do background checks. Now, there's one company in particular. What will happen is they are the primary portal for like 10 different BPO companies, 10 different banks, and you will complete a background check for that one portal, and it will work for all portals, all 10 of the banks that subscribe to that one particular portal. You're going to have to, let me see if I can find that for you. Give me just one sec. I was able to find it. So it's called Clear Value Consulting, okay? So what will happen is once you log in there, you'll register, and you will do a background check, and that background check will then give you access to those 10 different companies. And there's a lot of companies that are in there that are very good companies that I will put on that list for you so that you can have access to it. Okay, so you got to register for those BPO companies. If you need to do a background check, then you're going to need to do a background check on them. And again, you just have to upload all your information. Now, a lot of them are going to ask you, well, what's your experience like? Do you have any REO experience? Don't be afraid to say that you don't necessarily have any REO experience right now. Okay, that's not a big deal. Right now, really, what they want to make sure is that you're able to turn in these reports on time and you're able to go out there and assess these properties. Okay, that's really what it's about. So don't think that just because you're brand new at this or just because you're a brand new agent that you're not going to be able to get business this way. Now, likewise, don't think that just because you're a veteran agent who's been doing this 20 years, you're any more likely to get business over somebody that is just getting started, especially when you're not responding to emails, you're not on top of this, or you don't have somebody helping you out, okay? So initially, it takes a little bit of time to build this thing, I get it, but just once it's moving, okay, trust me, you can scale this and you can scale it relatively quickly. So make sure you register for the BPO companies. And then the last thing is follow up with these BPO providers. So just because you registered doesn't mean that you're going to get it. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you that. And you know the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Okay, and I may have butchered that analysis or that paradigm. Is that the right? Yeah. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. You got to make sure that you follow up with the BPO provider. So once you register, then what you do is you go on the website, right? You go on their website, you find out what the toll-free number is, or find out what their direct line is, or find their contacts on LinkedIn. I think I covered that, and I'll cover that in training down the road. But you can look this company up on LinkedIn. You can see all the people that work there, connect with them. You can find the direct line, call them on the telephone. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call. Ask for vendor management. I want to speak to vendor management. Introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Paul Argueta. Listen, I just registered as a BPO provider, as a valuation provider, and I just want to find out who is in charge of my state. Ask for the person that is in charge of your state because everybody is different. Now, in our state, in my state of California, we have there isn't just one person that controls all of California for a lot of these companies because what happens is it's divided up. There's northern, there's central, there's southern. So California, at least for us. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you find out who the vendor service manager is, find out that person, and then find out who is the person that is in charge of your state. Get a hold of that person, ask for their email, reach out to them, send them an email, introduce yourself. If you want to do a video email, you can try that too. You know, there's a bunch of different video email providers that you can use now to send out a video email. But the point is, don't just sit on your laurels. Don't just sit back and think that they're going to call you because that doesn't work. It doesn't work in any type of business, right? It's not just going to happen by itself magically or through osmosis. You got to make sure that you register, you follow up, you call, you send out an email, you call them once a week. Hey, is there anything that I can help you out with? You know, I wasn't afraid to tell people that, like, look, I'm the garbage man. Whatever doesn't get done, or any of the late orders, or any of the hard to place orders, or any of the stuff that nobody wants to do, or the stuff that you can't fill, or the stuff that you can't find an agent to work for, or whoever can't handle a specific order, if you're on crunch time and you need something same day, if you need something 24 hours a day, call me, let me know, I can get it done for you. Now, I know that's risky, I know that's scary, there is pressure now when you're forced to step up, but here's the thing, when you do things like that and you put yourself above other people, and more importantly, when you come through during those moments, they become much more confident in your ability to perform. And what happens is that's how you get ahead of the other people. Because everybody messes up, including myself. Okay, nobody bats 1,000, and there are times where an order gets late. I don't have my pictures on time. I don't turn it in on time. An order gets reassigned. But because of the reputation that I've been able to establish, it's not difficult for me to call them back and say, hey, look, I made a mistake. I screwed up here. Can you get that one back for me? I'm going to fix it. And I can get that one back. Okay, but not everybody has that same type of reputation. And in order to build it that way, you got to be able to pick up some of the garbage or some of the breadcrumbs that other people leave behind. Okay, so follow up with BPO providers. Make sure that you reach out to them. Make sure that they know that you're available. This is your quick start guide. So before you start moving on to any of the other videos, right, you're thinking to yourself, well, how do I get this thing going right now? What do I need to do right now just to build this? I just gave you those 7 tips. That's what you need to do. I look forward to hearing about your guys' success. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.